Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first webinar in our What's Up Wednesday Get Inspired series, Introduction to Inspire. My name is Courtney Brown, and I'm the Southeast Regional Coordinator from the Indiana State Library's Professional Development Office. I'll be the host and question moderator today. Our presenter is my colleague, Paula Newcomb. She's the Northeast Regional Coordinator from the Professional Development Office. Just a couple of announcements. To register for other webinars or other trainings available from the Professional Development Office, please see the Indiana State Library's events calendar, which can be found on our website at www.in.gov/library. For a full list of our current in-person training menu, please see our continuing education website. As I mentioned before, we have a new training series called What's Up Wednesday, Get Inspired, and these trainings will be related to Inspire, and they take place on the second Wednesday of the month. We've also continued our original What's Up Wednesday webinar series this year, and those are scheduled on the last Wednesday of the month, so be sure to mark your calendars for those. This session is about an hour, so you'll receive one TLEU for this presentation. If you're watching an archived recording of this webinar, instructions on how to obtain your TLEU are in the video's description on YouTube. Or you can also find those instructions on the ISL's continuing education site under LEU policies. Without further ado, I'll turn the presentation over to Paul.
Okay, thanks, Courtney. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Just let me know if you can't. I actually cannot see the chat right now. So hello, everybody, and I hope this finds you all doing well. I am doing this from my home office. I hope my internet is fast enough to do this webinar today. I saw a little bit of a lag, but hopefully it'll resolve itself. Also, I do have a couple of little Yorkies that might bark. So if you hear dogs, I am so sorry, but maybe that'll add to the presentation. So today I will be doing a general overview of Inspire and also talk about some of the changes to Inspire. Budget cuts in 2020 caused these changes, and I'll go over those in detail in a few minutes. So today what I'm going to talk about is what is Inspire and who can use it. We'll talk about this year's changes in the Inspire interface and introduce the new EBSCO databases. We'll compare the Gale and the EBSCO databases, and I'll do a demonstration of Inspire in a few of the databases. So what is Inspire? Inspire is Indiana's virtual online library, which is made up of a collection of databases and other information resources, such as full-text magazine and journal articles, websites, pamphlets, images, historic newspapers, and so much more. And so, who can access Inspire? All Indiana residents can access Inspire at home, in your office, your library, and at your work and business. And Inspire is provided at no additional cost to residents of Indiana. It is a service of the Indiana State Library and is supported by the Indiana General Assembly through Build Indiana funds, the Institute of Museums and Library Services under the provision of the Library Services and Technology Act, and in partnership with Academic Libraries of Indiana. It does use geo-IP recognition, so it knows that you're a resident of Indiana. But sometimes residents in Indiana may not be recognized by Inspire as being an Indiana resident. So if that happens to you, you would need to contact the Inspire Help Desk, and I've got that on our screen here, for connection issues, and they will assist you. I know that's actually happened to me a few times, and it might also happen to, well, it probably will happen to your residents as well. And sometimes schools have issues as well because they're behind a firewall a lot of times. So, okay, so we'll go over, I'll just mention a few of the databases that were updated in 2019. We've got the Academic Search Complete, which is designed for academic libraries and institutions. The Consumer Health Information, it is multilingual and has several languages on this database. The MOS Complete is a database for high school students, and the MasterFile Complete, which covers general interest subject areas. Now we'll talk about a few changes in Inspire. Due to the budget cuts in 2020, the Gale databases were not renewed. A couple of them you might remember were Biography in Context and the TURC, which is also called the Teaching and Education Reference Center. But on the bright side, we do have equivalent EBSCO databases. The next slide is a comparison chart. So this shows the equivalent EBSCO databases to the Gale databases we previously subscribed to. I will include this chart on the archive webinars page when the recording is uploaded to our website. So you'll have a copy of that readily available. And here are some of the new EBSCO databases in 2020. The Communication and Mass Media Complete, that contains top journals in communication and media studies. The ebook collections, this is exciting. We have ebooks for all age levels and they are multi-use, so there are no limits on the number of simultaneous users. I'll go over that one in a little bit more detail later. The Learning Express Library, which replaced the Gale Testing and Education Reference Center. This database helps those looking to improve core academic skills or pass the GED and TAS tests, prepare for college. It also includes practice tests and books for occupational tests, and has the U.S. citizenship test and much more. The Legal Information Reference Center. This offers detailed how-to instructions covering a wide range of legal issues. Psychology and Behavioral Science Collection provides access to hundreds of full-text journals and offers particularly strong coverage in child and adolescent psychology and various areas of counseling. The final one, Religion and Philosophy Collection, has in-depth collection of resources covering topics in religion and philosophy. So the ones that are highlighted are the ones that I am going to do a deeper dive when we do the Inspire demonstration. So I am going to switch now to Inspire. And what I usually say in all my trainings on either technology or Inspire, it may look like this today, but just be prepared for change because as we know, things constantly change with technology. EBSCO might change, tweak this or tweak that, so things may not always look the same. So, and also, depending on how quickly I get through this demonstration, because I cover a lot of information, I'd like to hold off questions till the end, but feel free to add them in the chat as you think of them, and we'll see how much time is left at the end of the hour. And if we don't get your questions answered, we will be copying the chat, and I'll send out the chat with the answers hopefully within a week or two. Okay, so I will go. We're going to start with the Inspire homepage, which is, as you see, or you should know probably, is www.inspire.in.gov, which I've got on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the live page. The search box is a good place to start. This is just a general search. It's called the EBSCO Discovery Search. It searches most of the databases on Inspire and it brings your search results together. So it looks through everything except for a couple of databases, and I'll cover those. I believe it's the two that it doesn't cover are the teaching books might be included now. I'm going to step away from what I just said. I am not sure. I'll find that answer later, or maybe Courtney will put that in the chat. Over here on the side, you can also switch it to, with the down arrow, you can do Inspire, Evergreen, Indiana, or CIRCS, which is our statewide remote circulation service. So you can switch to those. Directly under that are links to different ways to get to the databases on Inspire, and different ways also to search. You could do an advanced search. I'll click on that. As you see, it gives you all kinds of choices. You can search in various ways. You can do Boolean phrases, just your search terms, full text, not full text, scholarly. It's always click to full text, change by publication date, and also language. So there's many ways to change your searches. Close that and go back over here. The database is A to Z. That is an alphabetical listing with descriptions. That's very helpful. That's probably the one I use the most. You can also do it databases tiled by subject. So you can see the big topics we've got and how we combine them. And the next one over, the databases by subject, it's similar to the tiled, it's just a different way. And you just click on the plus arrow and it will show you what databases are under that. The About contains a history of Inspire and also has usage statistics. So that's maybe good to show some of your, possibly if you've got community leaders, that might be a good thing to show them. The FAQs, lots of information down this page. It tells you if you are having trouble, if you need why you need a password, all kinds of information. Also, if you need to get download a logo for your web page, or for anything you might print out, this is a great place to get that logo. And also the contact. I believe the contact is also under FAQ, but you can go directly to the contact email right here on this page. So we'll go back to the Inspire homepage. This middle area here contains direct links to databases that we highlight or they're frequently used, and also Indiana focused. The last three are Indiana focused. And at the very bottom of the page, you'll find a link to the previous Inspire interface. It's the little teeny tiny blue link right here, the Here word. I'll click on that and show you what it does. It brings you back to what it used to look like, which actually it still looks like. This is what we use. This is the background behind the EBSCO. So I'm going to go back to Inspire and just do a general search here at the top. I love royalty, so I oftentimes will do searches on the royal family. So we'll see, and here is where it's being a little slow. Let me see if I can start that over. Okay, so this gives you lots of information. You get right into your search results, 140,000, which is a lot. You can change things like the relevance. You can change newest to oldest. You can change page options, how you want to see it on the page. You've got related images. You've got videos here in the middle, and you can filter by all kinds of different ways, by your magazines, news, academic journals, topic, language, all kinds of things. Let's do another one. See how much we can find on Indiana. Okay, that brings us back 3 million search results. Pretty doable, right? 3 million to go through. Really not. That's a lot of articles. What you can do here on the side is to limit it. We'll see. Let me try it to, you can move this little toggle bar, we'll change it. Or, I know the number didn't change at all probably. Let's try year 2000. How many results do you guys think we're going to get? If you want to just pop that in the chat. What's your guess? It only brought it down to 2,715,000. So still a lot of information to go through. So you might tweak it by, say, I don't know, maybe you wanted something on Indiana Barnes. So as you know, just try to make it as specific as you can. 38,000, still a lot of information to go through. So just something to think about when you're helping your patrons with their searches. I'm going to also now go over the top ribbon. This is where you can click to do a new search. You can click on to go to the Indiana State Library. Publication title search, I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. Again, about, goes directly to WorldCat. And all of these. You can also do changed languages, preferences, all kinds of things. Ask a librarian, that gets you to our Indiana State Library, and if you have a question, you can type it there. A good thing to know is about the signing in. When you sign in, this gets you access to your folder. This is a great place to save your articles that you're looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. And I'll show you what that does. So it'll let you have some different options. You can either sign in with Google, or you can I already have a username and password set up. And this is really great to know to help your patrons. And I would highly encourage you guys trying this yourself, just so you can see what it does. So you can go ahead and sign in. And you can create one right down here. Again, it's free. It doesn't cost anything to do this. So I'm going to sign in. So what it does, I'm going to click on the folder so you can see what I've got. It's a little bit tricky to wrap your head around this. When I'm just in the general search and I put things in my folder, they will show up over here in these folders. say I was in the ebooks, you'll have to, if you're in one of the ebooks databases, you actually have to sign in separately to the ebooks database. You can have the same sign in, but to be able to have it show up over here in just your general folder, you have to do that. So like if you put something in your ebooks, you're signed in, you come back to your general folder, you hit refresh, it'll show up in this list. Also, you can do custom folders as well. So you can make I don't think there's any limit to how many things. I have one here I just made on library security. So you can also do that as well. Okay, so I'm now going to just do a publication title search to show you what that does. So I'm going to put in People Magazine. If you click on just People Magazine, this link right here, it just takes you to the information about the magazine. That's not what you're going to want to do if you're going to want to look at the magazine. You could also search within the publication, or you could type or click on one of these different databases that are within EBSCO. I usually just go to Master File Complete. It looks like they all have the same, pretty much the same dates, except for this one has more, the Master File Complete. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what it does, it shows you what issues and articles are available. So I'm going to go ahead and click on January of 21. And already you see, look how quickly they put things on EBSCO, or on this. I sometimes have seen a lag, but most times it seems like it's pretty quick. So if we click on that issue, the 18th, which we're the 13th, and they've already got the 18th on here, it brings up the articles here in the middle. It doesn't look really, it's just a list of articles. But it's really neat how you can do different things. Like you've got the HTML full text, PDF full text, or you can save directly to the cloud. So you can save to your Google Drive if you'd rather do that. So if I'm going to click on the HTML text, I'll show you what that does. It's just basically the text. But what you can do, and I'm not sure if you will be able to hear this, I'm going to try to do this. It'll read it to you. You can change it to a different, it's kind of funny, it has different accents. So if you're like Australian accent or British accent, you can have it read to you in that. And also you can have it, if you click on the little wheel, it'll change different settings. So that could be really good if you have someone who's sight impaired, who needs to change the way it looks. And I'll show you what it does once it starts reading to you. So hopefully you'll be able to hear this. I'm going to change it to British and hit play.
Chatter. Full text. Section. Also in this issue. January 18th, 2021. It's time for 65 plus influencers.
So you can see as that's reading, it's changes, it's highlighting the text. This would also probably be good for someone who's maybe needs help with English as a second language. So just something to think about to help your patrons with. I think that's a pretty cool feature. On the site, it's got lots of other tools. Again, you can go right to Google Drive. You can put it in your folder, print it, email it, save it, and cite it. Cite it is pretty nice too. If you click Cite, it shows you the different style manuals. So you've got AMA, APA, Trabian, Harvard. So that is so handy, so much handier than when I was in school. So now I'm going to switch over to the PDF full text to show you what that looks like. And it's just like the magazine. So it comes in sections. So it is on Chatter. So there's 2 pages on Chatter. And again, it's just like the magazine, except I guess it has the copyright here on each page. But you can also go through the whole entire magazine. So you see right now it's highlighted 1 through 5. So this is what's here. Click on 6 through 10. It gives you the next section. So you can go through the entire magazine right here on the computer. So just click on another one. Again, the whole article. Okay, so now I think I'll switch it to my next. And again, if you're having questions, please put them in the chat and we'll get to those at the end. Or probably Courtney is answering them as we go. The next thing I'm going to talk about are the ebook book collection. We added in 2020 about over 75,000 multi-user books. And you can see the new collections are K through 8, high school, public library collection, and I believe this was what we had before. We already had an ebook collection. So, but now I'll go ahead and click on it back in Inspire and we'll go find those. So again, I use databases A to Z, and I just go down here to where they are. I went too far. So, okay, I'm going to click on the ebook K through 8 collection. If you're familiar with the way EBSCO looks, a lot of the databases look like this. So all you do is you could put in your search terms, do a basic search, advanced search, or down below, this is a little different. It highlights different books, and also it features books as well. So I'm going to click in this children's and young adult fiction and do a deeper dive. So I'm going to find one that has different, there's like 3 options. You've got the PDF full text, or a full download. You can get to the table of contents. I'm going to go down here to the Tales of a 8-Bit Kitten. This one has the PDF full text, the EPUB full download. The difference between them, the PDF full text is recommended for desktops. Teachers might get interested in this because you can email specific pages to their students or chapters, and you can also have your entire class read the same book. The EPUB full text is recommended for mobile devices. EBSCO is going to have a app come out. I don't think it's quite ready, but you'll eventually be able to read these things on your mobile devices. Or you can do a full download. That's a little bit trickier because you need to sign into your account and you can borrow the book, and you would need to have Adobe Digital Editions. I don't have that on my computer right now because I have a state computer for the state of Indiana, so it's a little picky at what it lets me have on my computer. So I'll just click on the PDF full text. You can see what it looks like. Again, my computer might be lagging a little bit. Oh, there it is. So it just looked exactly like the book. So you can read it that way. You can see it's going through what is highlighted. It's going to the title page, then it's going to go to the dedication. So, and again, you can download these, you can save pages, add it to your folders, email it, print it, cite it. Same thing you could do with the magazines. And I'll go back. I shouldn't have gone that far. Go back to it again. The full download, I'll just click on it and show you what it does. So I have to also sign into my account. So you can do it with Google or your username. And then that's where it gives you the different choices. So you could do it for your desktop, mobile devices, or Adobe Digital Editions. And you can also change the date of how long you want to keep it. So that's just another way to use the ebooks. I'll go back to the this screen. I did a presentation on this at a staff day last fall, and I had a really good question. They asked me, I have a family that wants to, that has parents speak Spanish fluently, and they want their kids to be able to read fluently. So asked if we had any Spanish language books. I did a search, and I clicked on Spanish. I hit search, and I came up with 159 titles. When they did it at their library, so this is something to think about. You might try this on your computer after the presentation. They only came up with one search result. I think we had to end up sending it to the EBSCO tech support, so then they sent them back instructions on how to get around that. So just to be aware, this would be really, really great with multi-language, multilingual, and to have kids read in different languages. Okay, so now I'm going to switch gears to our next section. I'm going to talk about the Legal Information Reference Center. This offers tools and detailed how-to instructions covering a wide range of legal issues. So I'm going to click back over here. It's just down below. This EBSCO one looks a little bit different. The reference centers tend to look a little different. I think we have a few other ones that will have this same setup, but again, it's very similar. You could type your general information up in this box. Same advanced search. Um, this one you can also browse by category. So if you have a certain issue, you can do that. And down below, they have included the popular and very well respected NOLO books. They're the nation's oldest and most respected provider of legal information. So you could actually click on that and get the ebook as well. Over here on the side, you've got popular legal forms that you could browse. And above that, you can also search by state. I'm going to show you what that does. So click on that, and some of you might be already familiar with this because some people have a subscription to this this Legal Information Reference Center database already. But what you can do, that brings up this PDF with links. So if we go over here to Indiana State Legal Forms, click on that. And I'm just going to click on the small estate one. Gives you information about what it is, who might use the form. But down here at the bottom, it'll tell you what, instructions on what to do with the form, or if you're ready to fill out the form, you can go directly to that. So I'm going to click on that. So you can type in the search box. So that's pretty nice. And it looks like you can download it, print it. So I know a lot of people get tons of questions on legal information. At least this could be a place you could guide people to. And if someone messes up, clear the form, start it again. So I think this is a very useful resource. All right, I'm going to go to our next one, is the Learning Express. Again, this one has taken the place of the Gale product, the TERC, the Testing and Education Reference Center. It's very similar to that, except it does not have a resume builder. So let's go ahead and get into a deeper dive on this one. So it's organized into these different learning centers for career prep, high school equivalency, college, school center, college students, adult core skills, and this is the Spanish version, which I do not speak Spanish. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. So these two are very similar in what information they have, just in Spanish. So if you click on one of them, career prep, shows you what you can do. You can learn more about a career, job search, and workplace skills, the different exams like cosmetology, the CDL, civil service, military exams, teaching ones, lots of great info. High school, again, you're familiar with the GED or the TASK, which was what we use in Indiana. Also, I'll go ahead and click on that. If you click on, say, the TASK, it'll show you what you can do, build your basic skills, prepare for these different tests, and also it does have ebooks. So you can click on the ebook and read a little bit more about it. College admissions, as you probably know, it's got SAT, ACT, PSAT, also the TOEFL. The school center is for these different age groups, so they can work on different skills. So it'd be funny if I tried to do geometry or algebra. I probably would be very bad at that. But if someone needs more practice on those, this is a great place to go. College students also gives you some skills to prepare for your exams in your college placement. And the adult core skills, again, if you're going back into the workforce, or if you're needing to go back to college, this will be a great way to get those skills built up. Or on becoming a U.S. citizen, which, again, I'll click on that. I am not going to try to pronounce that. So with this is another one that really I highly recommend you sign in and register for these, because if you sign into it, you can help your patrons more. Let me go ahead and log into it and see what it looks like. So I've already done a few of these things, so you can see what your, I guess you call this kind of like your login screen. That's not the right word, but anyway, you can see the tests that you're taking, what you've completed, your progress. They've got tutorials, also your ebooks. You can download your ebooks. And they also have flashcards, which was kind of cool. You could do flashcards to for the civics questions for the naturalization test. Okay, so now we'll switch gears to another database, the Explorer databases. These are for schools and public libraries, and they meet the unique needs of the students and teachers and also support student research and classroom instruction. Lots of reliable content and easy to use functionality. So I'll go ahead and click back over to Inspire, go back up to Explorer. All of the Explorers, they look similar. We've got the Educators Edition, which has, you can see, lesson plans, STEM lessons, tools for students, curriculum standards, and other valuable sites for teachers. So that would be a really good place to send your teachers to. Click back over here, look at the elementary one. The elementary one is a little bit more visual, so you can see bigger graphics. They've got biographies on here that are already, you can click right onto those biographies about these people. And also you could do an advanced search. If you click advanced search, on this one you can do it by Lexile reading level. So that might be important for your patrons. The high school and the middle school look very similar to that one as well. I'll go ahead and click on high school so you can see it just looks a tiny bit different. I guess you'd say a little bit more grown up. Okay, so the next one we're going to deal with is the teaching books. This one is really awesome. It has, as you can see, over 200, well, you know what, this is a screenshot. This number is already up to about 239 resources. They just keep adding great stuff to this database. They are resources about children's and young adult books, and under their help and support, they've got video tutorials, trainings, webinars that you can access if you want to learn more about this wonderful source. And there's also a new Chrome extension for teaching books. You might have seen that in the listservs earlier this week. My coworker Beth Yates put an email out about it on Monday. You can barely see it, but this is what the Chrome extension looks like, Teaching Books Connections. What it does is you would be able to integrate teaching books connections into your searches. So if that's something valuable to you in your work in the kids or teens departments, that would be a really great way to do that. And you can also quickly get into teaching books. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and click on that and show you what it does. I think it'll let me there. So it brings me right over to teaching books. It's a little bit different than if I was just doing it through Inspire, but this just tells you a little bit more about the Google search results. I think at this point I'm going to clean up some of these different windows I've got going. So I'm going to go back to the Inspire and let's go to the main page. So if you click on the Inspire link, it'll get you down here. I can click on teaching books as well. There's always a lot of different ways to get to the databases. So this is usually what it brings you to, and it sees that you're an Indiana resident. Again, 239 resources. You've got on this side for children and teens. You can meet authors. You have read-along performances. This is really fun. You can even hear the authors pronounce their names and hear a little bit about their name. I love going to that one. They have book trailers. They've got reader's advisory even. And on the other side, they've got for educators and adults. So all kinds of things for them as well. But I'm going to also, let's go over to the for students up here and show you what it looks like. Or you could hit the teaching books. Again, this one has many different ways to search and get around in the database. But they can build their own reading lists. They can get homework help. Again, reader's advisory, find books you'll like. But I'm going to click over here you could click here for educators or over here Either way, it'll get you to the same spot, I believe. This one is pretty cool, that if you go down to lots of things to explore, but I was doing the library programming one yesterday. It gives you information on the book clubs, book talks, the literary calendar. You can also get to the reading lists that are just for Indiana. And also summer reading is always tailored to what our summer collaborative reading summer is that year. So let's click on, which one was I looking at? Let's go ahead and reading lists for Indiana. So it shows you the aisle ones on the read alouds, or it gives you Young Hoosier Book Award lists, and also the Firefly, I believe, is here. The Elliott Rosewater, and the Firefly. So very handy that they're able to make this very user-friendly for Indiana. So the next one, we'll go ahead and get out of that one. The next one we're going to look at is, this is actually 3 different databases maybe to know about. We've got, I think, about 80 some databases just on Inspire. So if I would do all 80, I think it would take me all day to get through it. So just highlighting a few of the ones you might want to know about. The Points of View Reference Center is similar to Opposing Viewpoints. The Read It is for middle and high school students and anyone who has a basic foundation in English. So it helps build background knowledge and improve study skills. So that might help someone who is new to the English language. And Rosetta Stone. That is for personal use, and it works through an immersion method. It's all in that language. For that one, it's a separate login. You'd also have to have a login and a password for that. And it's a little different. You couldn't just sit in your library and use it because you'll need a microphone with that. So what it does is it'll at one point have you talk back to the computer and you can practice your pronunciation. So really, that's probably something you either want to use in a study room at the library or at your home. So just something to know about. And I will go show you where those are. So we do have Rosetta Stone directly on our web page in the front. And it is being a little bit slow. Let's try that again. Normally what it'll bring up is a spot where you can put in your email. It'll tell you what or you'll click on the language that you want to learn. For some reason, it's not liking this today. One more time. Not going to do it. Sorry about that. Well, we'll go over back to the databases A to Z, see if it'll like the other 2 better. So looking for the Points of View Reference Center. I may have just maxed out my connections at home. It looks very similar to the other databases are on EBSCO. I'll click on Read It, see if it likes that one. Oh, it does. So as you see, it looks really similar to the Legal Reference Center. So again, it also lets you listen to them in the different accents, and that could be very helpful for this one as well. So I'm going to switch to our next ones, are the Indiana databases. And I know I've gone through a lot of things in a short amount of time, and these are the last 3 databases that I'm going to go over. So for these, the Hoosier State Chronicles, it's a free online access to high-quality digital images of Indiana's historic newspapers. They digitize the collection, and it's what makes it available. And also, people, and I'll show you when we get into it. Hopefully, it'll come up. It has things OCR, which is optical character recognition. Sometimes that is not very clean on the paper, and I'll show you what that looks like. And some people do sign in to help clean that up. Indiana Memory here in the middle is a collaborative effort to provide access to the wealth of primary resources in Indiana libraries, archives, museums, and other cultural institutions. We did earlier last year, probably in, I believe it was in November, Justin Clark, who is from the Indiana Historical Bureau, he did a webinar on these databases, and you can find that recording on our archive webinars page. It's called History at Your Fingertips, and he did a really good job of explaining what all is in those are in those two databases. I've worked with them a long time, but I learned a lot just listening to Justin that I didn't even know before. And we're also going to have him do another webinar for us later in the year, I believe on October 13th. Courtney's going to do that with him, so it'll be exciting to hear what else he tells us about those two databases. And the last one is Indiana Legacy. That's a collaborative statewide database which has lots of Indiana local history and vital records from Indiana libraries, historical societies, genealogy societies, and related organizations. For that one, it's searchable by county, birth, marriage, death, divorce, obituaries, court records. It doesn't have, I don't think it's got everything in it, but at least it might be a good place to start if you're going to do some searching for that type of information. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our databases and actually go back to the home page, and hopefully it'll let me in these databases. So the Hoosier State Chronicles, yay! It has over 1 million pages. Justin did a lot better description of how you use this, but you can search, you can go by titles, dates, counties, tags. So for example, I'm going to do a search. Daviess County, that's where I come from. So just going to click on any of these, just the first one. So you can see this is the digitized newspaper, and on the side is the OCR. And like I said, sometimes the OCR doesn't quite get the wording, the text right over here. So as I said, you can sign in to help clean that up. I know some of your patrons might love to do that, especially the ones who love doing genealogy and history. So go back to the Inspire Indiana Memory. So you can click on collections across Indiana. It also has some newspapers and teacher resources and lists of the collections. So say I'm going to click on collections across Indiana. You can click on the different counties to see what's included. I believe Marion has a lot of information, Marion County. So you can see what all's included, and then you can click on them. Lots of great information in here. And the final one is Indiana Legacy. So this is where you can type in your information and look for all kinds of different information on, like I said, death, divorce, marriage information. All right, and if that wasn't enough for a tutorial, you can also get to EBSCO's tutorials on this page. It's got lots of helpful information. If you need to, I'll click on that. It should take me there. So a good place to go is down here is to need quick help. You can also do tutorials on the EBSCO information so to give even better tutorials about how they work. And the trainings, as Courtney mentioned, we're doing new trainings this year. This is all the different places that you're going to be able to find information about when they are. And like Courtney said, we also put together there's a PDF when I bring up the LAU. You can find out the dates on that, and I'll also include those on the archive page when we get it on the internet. And lastly, swag. Everybody loves swag. If you are in need of Inspire swag, you can contact the statewide services by email or by phone, and you can request items, and they'll be sent to you to your library through Info Express. They do have a lot of cool stuff that they recently got. They were hoping to pass out in 2020, and of course 2020 hit, and I still think they have a lot of things to pass out. So things that I saw, they have like mini playing cards. They've got Inspire socks. They've got pens with stylus, pencils, posters, bookmarks, hand sanitizers, keychains, sticky note pads, pop sockets for your phone. They even have a guitar pick. They've got totes, flash drives, t-shirts. There was, I think, even a laser pointer, and I think there's even more. So if you need something, you can always go ahead and click, send an email to them or phone or call them and see what you might like to get sent to you. Okay, so thank you very much for attending today. So after all of that, you guys it looks like we have time left for questions. I got about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we have had a ton of questions, Paula. And I just want to remind everyone this was just a surface presentation, just the tip of the iceberg on Inspire, and we will be doing deep dives later in the year. A lot of the questions that we had were about the ebooks, and I might kind of put all those together and maybe wait to the end to see if we have time to get to those. But for those of you who asked those ebook questions, we are recording the chat and we will get those questions answered in the email that Paula sends out. But also, we will have a training on ebooks, everything about ebooks, on April 14th. Okay, so first thing I want to just say, just a little bit of clarification. If you need help with the My EBSCO account, you will need to contact EBSCO for that, not the Inspire Help Desk. If you're having issues with Inspire, that's when you contact the Inspire Help Desk. Let's see what else we have. Ebooks. Let's see. Oh, someone was asking, any other place in Inspire to offer a resume builder? I don't believe so. I'd throw it over to you, Paula, to see if you knew off the top of your head, but then Jenna chimed in and said there is a website, resumegenerator.org, I believe it was. I'll have to go back up and see. And it was put together by a librarian in Allen County. Yes, that is resumegenerator.org, and it is for everyone to use. So that's a great thing to know about.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was very sad that that didn't come with Learning Express. Because
Yeah.
even though it may not have been perfect, it wasn't perfect in Turk. At least it was something. But we do have a web page on that's called Helpful Tools for. Let me go ahead and go to that page. Helpful Tools. Maybe I could add something there, like the one that Jenna mentioned. Let me bring that up really quick. But you can keep talking too. Go ahead and keep
Okay.
talking.
Someone said there are two common children's questions that come up: famous Hoosier projects and animal specialties. Would Explora be a good resource for those kinds of questions?
Let's go look. So what age group was that again? Was it the K through 8?
I don't think they specifically said an age group. Let's see. No age group, but I see she's typing, so she may have
I'm
uh,
sorry.
through fifth grade.
I went. Okay. And I went into the ebook. My brain's not thinking. You said 5th grade.
And then someone said
And
third
what
and
was
fourth grade, so maybe 3 through 5 is what they're looking for.
okay. And what were the projects again? We can do a quick search.
Famous Hoosiers and animal specialties.
Famous Hoosiers. I don't know if it's going to be on Explorer, but you probably could get things on animals. Hoosiers. I'm going to go. Let's try the Hoosiers. They have in the biography ones. Let's try these. Occupation, country, nationality. Now, I don't know if it'll come up with just Hoosiers. There's a few. But if you've got a classroom of 25 kids wanting to do someone different, that wouldn't be great, would it? Let's try the other one. Which one did I do? Reference Center. This one's probably more, let's see, and if you're probably going to do biographies, Takes it down to 69. So that might be another way to go. So maybe you could try that some of the EBSCO, the biography, the two different biography ones. What's another one we might try?
Someone said maybe try Indiana instead of Hoosiers. And
That was
Kelly
true.
says this is I lost it. Too many things are going on. Let's see. This is a very common unit. Teachers give some well-known people like William Henry Harrison or Jim Davis, or other times it's Eli Lilly, etc.
Yeah. Let's try Indiana memory. So they're gonna. That one has about 800 things just on him. So you might have to come up with the list of Hoosiers and then come here to put in their specific names. You might be able to. I know Beth is going, and I'm sorry, the dog's barking. Beth is going to do one on. Just I can help you right now, but maybe we can ask Beth Gates later if she knows of other places for that. She's going to do in September top Inspire databases for assisting students. But we'll do some more research on that and see what else we come up with.
And then the majority of our questions left are about ebooks, and someone said when I click on the ebooks K through 8, it just takes me to the ebook collection, no highlights, totally different view than what you showed. And then she tried here again at the end of the presentation, and it showed exactly what you were showing on your screen. So that's another example of Inspire switching things up, sometimes in the middle of a presentation. And Nicole Brock jumped in that Explora is simply an interface that searches the age-appropriate EBSCO databases. So it'll pull from all the EBSCO databases as long as they fit within that parameter. So elementary school, high school, middle school. So for example, if you search William Henry Harrison in Explora, quite a few resources come up.
It was funny. I thought, oh, maybe there's something on Hoosier, someone, just in general, but that's probably too specific to put in to the ebooks. I just thought I'd try. So, a couple things that he wrote. So, any other questions that we can try before we?
Can text to speech also be done for ebooks?
So, that works on the HTML. So I don't know if they have HTML. They don't, do they? I don't believe so. Let me click on a PDF. That's a good question. I don't think it does.
We'll do some more research if that's not the case. Paula will let you know in that email. When you download an ebook, will you be able to read the book without being online?
Let's click on one. So I'm going to add it to, so if I save it or export it. That's another good question. I am not sure. I think you can, but let me get better. The ebooks are a little bit tricky with what they do. We had someone from EBSCO tell us how to use them, and it was still a little bit cloudy for us, right, Courtney?
Yes. So just a reminder, we will have a presentation on just ebooks on April 14th. And I will read through the rest of the questions, but maybe we won't answer them on the webinar here, but Paula will do some research and get the answers to everyone. Someone would like to know how the ebooks are vetted, how they're selected, if they're compatible with Kindle or Chromebooks. Um, Someone was interested in seeing genealogy resources because their patrons do a lot of research. Um, I don't know if you want to show that quickly, Paula, but as far as the ebook questions go, we'll get those out in the follow up email. And then just a reminder that April 14th presentation.
Yeah, I remember the lady who did, and I believe she's the same person who's going to do the training on the 14th, Lisa Jones
Mm-hmm.
from EBSCO. She was saying that they have a lot of people, I think they're librarians that select those books that are in their ebooks. Does that sound, do you remember that, Courtney?
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, again, she gave us a lot of information that day.
And
For
when she was,
genealogy, is this, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, when she was giving us that information, it was changing at the time as well. So I think they're just getting some of that usability in place. So by the presentation in April, there should be more information about how to do certain things.
Hmm. And maybe that's something, I don't know if they could do that, say with the, if it would read the book to you. I don't know if that's something they're looking into doing or not, but we'll definitely, like, yeah, we'll check and see what she says with that,
Mm-hmm.
with those questions. For genealogy, we don't have a lot other than I think the Indiana Legacy or the Hoosier State Chronicles would be the two good places to go. Also Indiana Memory. You can, search and see if you can find information. It's not going to be, we don't have the ones that your local libraries have, or my brain's not thinking, what are they called? The Ancestry.com or Family, I can't remember the name of it. But we don't have those. So I think those are pretty much the only ways to go.
If you click on that link that says genealogy, what comes up there under Indiana Legacy?
Yeah, that comes up with, you can type, you can do biographies, deaths, divorce, marriage, um, just type in, I'll just see if my marriage is on here. Would be kind of disconcerting to see if I had something on our obituary, because I know I'm alive. I don't know if anybody else has my name. Um, that's taken a while to come up. I do tend to get click happy if something's not working, and I don't know why it's not going to work for me.
And Lisa, our ISL tech, says that database ISL created from sources around the state and ISL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are from Indiana Libraries, Historical Societies, Genealogy, and so it didn't. Maybe my name's just not in there. It's my mom's name. See if anything comes up. I know she is in there.
One of the joys of working from home.
I guess I know I have gotten, her name has come up. Maybe if I select a certain database, it would like that better. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not going to work for me today.
That's okay. And we are right at 11 o'clock. So the questions that we didn't get to, we are saving the chat. Paula will get to answering those in the follow-up email. And then I'm going to move over to the LEU pod where you can download your TLEU. There at the top of the screen, you just need to highlight the document and click download file. And then there's also a PDF there that says Inspire Trainings 2021. Those are all of the Inspire trainings for the entire year. Like I said, we'll have one on ebooks, we'll have one on the Indiana digital resources. We'll even have live question and answer sessions where you can just tune in and ask your question. And One of the regional coordinators will walk through that with you live. So there's lots of things there you'll want to mark your calendars for. And then if you have any questions, Paula's information there is at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and the live demos and Q&As, those are brand new. We've never done anything like that before, so that'll be interesting to see what happens. But please encourage your coworkers to sign up for these things, because every time I do one of these presentations, even if I'm really doing the same information, basically, people say they learn things all the time that they didn't know about, and your coworkers may not know about it. Tell your teachers in your community about it. I think we have a lot of teachers that don't know about it, so if you can get the word out about Inspire any way you can, that would be awesome. And I also thanks so much for all of you for being here today.